Kenya Dairy Board, for those of us who are visitors and probably we don't know what Kenya Dairy Board is that it's a government agency that is dealing with regulation of the dairy sector. Other than regulation of the dairy sector, we do promotion as well as organization. And regulation of the dairy sector particularly goes into issues of quality milk, quality marketing of milk. The promotion part of it, we deal with aspects of school milk program. We are pushing the adoption of school milk program in our ECD, early childhood education. And the other aspect of development is on issues of trade and trade facilitation. So having said that, I know in our discussion, if somebody do not understand or has not encountered anything on dairy, I think we are told picture speaks 1,001 words. So that is just a summary of dairy, that we have a cow, we have somebody transporting milk, we have the milk being dispensed or delivered to the processing, and the testing of milk. So allow me to go straight into, maybe the presentation can be shared because we have a lot of statistics, a lot of FAO statistics that we referred to, but basically to say that dairy is a global livelihood kind of activity that is a source of nutrition, a source of income to quite a number of people. And we have been told that dairy is growing. It is not it's not an industry which is stagnating. It is growing, and the growth that we were given for 2022 is that globally dairy is growing at a rate of 1%. So you can imagine that we are growing, and that growth may even mean that we are emitting more to the environment. So I'll go straight into Kenya perspective, that dairy, we are contributing to 4% of the national GDP. Dairy, again, is supporting 1.8 million smallholder dairy farmers who are keeping animals in dairy cows in zero grazing, semi-intensive and intensive. Our productivity is 7.6 liters per cow per day. And the average number of herd that the farmer has in Kenya is 2 to 5 cows per household. Our annual milk production is 5.2 billion liters from those 2 to 5 cows. And I'm glad that the team that was just here came and discussed on issues of energy, and particularly Ada mentioned about energy in dairy processing, that we have around 700 million liters of milk going into processing, what Ada was trying to mention about energy saving in milk processing. So if we quantify the much energy that is required for 700 million liters of milk to be processed in a year, I think we can confirm that it is a sector that really desires or really must gear towards use of renewable energy. So again, our emission in dairy sector is averaging 3.8 kilos carbon dioxide equivalent, and this emission more is coming from the manure and the methane that is as a result of the animal regurgitating and producing the methane gas. So emission is substantial, and that requires us to address these emissions. So what is it that Kenya Dairy Board is doing in terms of reduction or in terms of addressing sustainability in the dairy sector? This is a discussion that we have picked it in the past 3 years. We have been very passionate and active about discussing sustainability. We have had discussions with dairy processors, and we have developed a sustainability frame or sustainability roadmap that is guiding the dairy sector, both private and public, that is including Kenya Dairy Board, to drive their efforts into terms of making sure that the dairy industry is sustainable. And this sustainability roadmap that we have developed is looking at 3 aspects that are very key if we are to talk about sustainable dairy production. One is that I've earlier on said that our productivity is very low. So one of it is handling the aspect of low milk productivity and production. The other one is reduce use of non-renewable energy that Ada has really dwelt in it so much. And because I thank you, Ada, because the expertise, you have it. So that is part of what we are looking at in this sustainability frame. And we are also looking at reducing the losses that arises as a result of poor quality milk and inefficiencies in milk processing and marketing value chain. So there are a lot of efforts, and the efforts is towards all those 3 aspects that I've mentioned. And in totality, we want to see that there is improved productivity, reduction in the number of dairy herd that we have. We have around 4.5 million dairy herd that is producing very less or very little milk. I've told you 7.6 on average. So if productivity per cow is going to improve, we will be able to reduce the number of dairy cows that will emit less as compared to what we are emitting currently. And in terms of use of clean and renewable sources of energy, we are looking at use of biogas, and this use of biogas, we want to look at how best can we come up with technology, not coming up, but adopt technologies that are very simple, because biogas technology in Kenya has not been very, the story, just the way we've been told, is that the story is not interesting. Most of the biogas that were installed, especially the big biogas units, are not running the way it's supposed to run. So we are looking at investing or looking at partners who can support us in providing very simple biogas technology to close to 1.8 million dairy farmers that we have in Kenya. And so far, we have discussions with the National Dairy Development Authority of India. They want to look at it with us so that we partner together in putting up biogas plants across the country through the farmer groups that we have. On issues of milk losses, Kenya Dairy Board has developed or has established a national dairy regulatory laboratory that looks at providing testing services, milk testing services, to the stakeholders at a very affordable rate. If the stakeholder was supposed to take his products for analysis to a private farm, then Kenya Dairy Board is ready to provide that at a very affordable rate for purposes of looking at the quality of milk continuously. The other aspect on managing losses is that we reviewed our regulations. And the regulations that we have now is incorporating quality-based milk payment system as part of the processes that the farmer has to be paid, rather than the one that we have been using for a very long time is on aspect of volume. So if we look at quality-based milk payment and we look at the aspect of reducing the spoilages, reducing improving the quality of milk through regular testing and regular services, providing advisory services to the stakeholders, then we believe there will be reduction in wastage, and thus reduction is in aspects of emissions. So I'll not go into details, but we have just looked at productivity at farm level, competitiveness at processing level, and for in particular competitiveness at processing level is looking at how best can even the farmers be coordinated or organized so that they can work as unions. When they work together as cooperative unions, there is that economies of scale. And when the economies of scale is there, they are able to access, for example, the carbon credit that we are talking about, that a small group may not be able to access. And finally, that is the renewal, use of clean and renewable energy. We have a proposal which is almost starting with the NET Fund, National Environment Authority Trust Fund, that we are going to provide simple biogas units in some regions of Kenya, that is Cherangani and Nakuru. So these are some of the small steps that Dairy Board is working on for purposes of ensuring that the dairy sector is sustainable. I think, allow me not to go into water use, but just to generally say that our dairy industry is using around 1.3 to 2.5 liter per kilogram of milk that is being processed, and that is a lot of water. So in the discussion that we have in this sustainability frame, we will be looking at how best can we reduce the consumption or the use of water in processing, possibly by promoting the recycling, as Ada has mentioned, recycling of water, that you may use it in other purposes like cleaning, areas where you don't really require a lot of potable water. So let me stop at that, and just to say that Dairy Board is interested and is part of this global discussion on sustainability. If we can be able to partner together, our rally call is that can we have more people to support the 1.8 smallholder dairy farmers to install small and simple biogas units at farm level. Our women are really struggling with firewood. And if you look at that kind of a situation, probably they are suffering in silence because of asthma and the rest of the diseases that goes with dirty or unclean source of oxygen. Then we have, our rally call is that investment in bio-slurry. If we are able to get farmers mopping up the manure and being able to provide a manufacturing sector that can actually channel bio-slurry for purposes of going into farms, then we will be able to slowly go into organic farming and be able to reduce the use of inorganic fertilizer in our farms. Systema Bio is, I'm not sure if somebody is in Systema Bio has come here, is a company that we have, will be looking at discussing with them, because I'm reliably informed that they have the scheme, the carbon credit scheme, that they are supporting farmers in Kenya to install biogas units. So Systema Bio, if you are here, please let's have a small chat out of this. Then the other drive call is that if all of us can look at, especially if you're interested in dairy, how can we support this quality-based milk payment system? We have set the structures in terms of regulations, but regulations are not enough. We must drive the processors to realize that it is important to pay the farmers based on quality. We must drive the farmers to realize that it is important to keep quality milk so that they can get better pay. So thank you, and let's think of our sustainability as in terms of protecting our planet, protecting our people, and having a prosperous or being a prosperous nation. Thank you.